Good evening and welcome to News at 6 on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Well, Indo-Pak foreign secretary level talks have been put on hold. Well, that is the big story that we'd be tracking. Well, in the international news, there has been a big terror strike in Indonesia. 7 people, including 5 gunmen, have been killed. We'll get you all the details on that as well. But first up, the headlines. Foreign secretary level talks between India and Pakistan deferred for now, rescheduling over lack of clarity on Masood Azhar's arrest. Wholesale inflation in the negative for the 14th straight month. Contracts by 0.73% in December on the back of tumbling oil prices. Terror strikes Indonesian capital Jakarta, at least 7 people killed, 5 attackers among them. And Indian team prepares for the second ODI match against Australia. Dhoni hopes his men will avoid any slip-ups that could hurt their chances in the series. Well, first up, the big story that we are tracking, the much-awaited talks between the foreign secretaries of India and Pakistan have been deferred. Now, this as Pakistan failed to confirm the arrest of Jaish-e-Mohammed the chief, Maulana Masood Azhar, in the wake of the Pathankot air base attack. The foreign secretary level talks were scheduled for Friday, that is tomorrow. Well, Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar said that the talks will now be scheduled after consultations with his Pakistani counterpart, Aziz Ahmed Chaudhry. So this is the big story that we are tracking this moment. The Indo-Pak Foreign Secretary level talks have been rescheduled. Remember, this is coming amidst the uncertainty which was created after the terror attack on the Pathankot Air Force base. Remember, this happening at early this month on the 2nd of January. Well, after the talks were deferred, Foreign Secretary Jaishankar has now spoken to his Pakistani counterpart, Aziz Ahmed Chaudhry. And for more on this, let's go across to my colleague Akhilesh Suman, who is joining us live from the newsroom. Akhilesh, now the Foreign Secretary level talks between India and Pakistan have been rescheduled. What are the conditions now really set for the talks?
Yeah, actually it is a very dramatic development for last 2 days and if you go that first India has welcomed whatever action has taken by Pakistan in course of addressing the Pathankot attack in India, airbase attack. But other than that, India has said that we have noted that there has been some arrest on Jaish-e-Mohammed operatives, and this is the first step. That means some more steps have to be taken. And if you see the whole past history, in past history, India has arrested such perpetrators or detained such perpetrators. But this time, once they have yesterday they had accepted that yes, he has been arrested. Then news came that he has been detained, and now the news is coming. Pakistani authorities are telling that no, we don't know where Masood Azhar is there. So it is a very perplexing situation for India. And in this situation, I think that India is not satisfied with the talks. Should be take place, and if talks should take place, this shadow of Pathankot arrest will be, a Pathankot attack will be there, and that is why this talks has been deferred with mutual contest, mutual consent. And in this way, I think India is giving a big rope to Pakistan to rein in those who had perpetrated and who had operated the whole attack process. And I think that India will like to see that some actions should be taken on the ground about Masood Azhar, who is the main operative and who is the main mastermind of this Pathankot attack.
Akhilesh, there have also been reports that before the Foreign Secretary level talks, the national security advisors of both the nations will also talk. Any idea when is that going to happen?
Yeah, actually, national security advisors of both the countries are regularly in touch, and we had asked this question They are already in touch, and whatever mutual consent about deferring the talks, it is on the satisfaction of both the national security advisors. And you know that Pakistan is trying to send, Pakistan has proposed to send a special investigation team to probe the Pathankot attack, and
Yes.
India has welcomed it. And
Yes.
India has said that we are ready to cooperate. So in this way, the India MEA, Ministry of External Affairs, is telling that NSAs are regularly in touch, and I think that the decision on foreign secretary level talks will be taken very soon. They are using the word very soon. You can understand this very soon means that once we see that something is done about Masood Azhar.
But Akhilesh, this is very interesting because MEA says that there's no confirmation from Pakistan on the detention of Masood Azhar, who's the chief of Jaish-e-Mohammed. But so is it likely now that the story was probably planted in Pakistan media?
This is really very interesting that Pakistan media and even Pakistan minister, one minister of state has accepted in the interview with a Pakistani journalist, senior journalist, he's one of the most senior journalists in Pakistan, that yes, Masood Azhar has been arrested, and that minister told that he was present in that meeting of the cabinet where it was decided that Masood Azhar will be arrested. So it is interesting, it is dramatic, and it is a bit very, very perplexing. What do you want to do with Masood Azhar? First you accept, then you tell that detain, then you tell that safe custody. Well, India is really confused about this, what Pakistan wants to do with that. So
Akhilesh, a very, very small question before we go. Now, India is saying that it supports Pakistan's decision to send the investigators, but after the 26/11 attacks in Mumbai, Pakistan had refused to send the investigators to work with the Indian intel officers. So how is that now going to happen?
Yeah. India has said that we are ready to cooperate with the Pakistan investigation team, and whatever information they will ask or to whom they will like to meet, we will talk about it. So modalities of the investigation will be decided by both India and Pakistan, and you know that NSAs are regularly in touch, so modality will be decided. Okay. But again, this is not a new thing that Pakistan had wanted to join the investigation in 26/11 incident also, but nothing has come out. So that is why it is, I think, understood by both the governments that, okay, let us wait and see that what we can do about this attack, and then we will decide about the foreign secretary level talk. But the best silver lining is that both are in right terms, in a right mood, and sweet diplomacy is going on between the two countries. That's
all right, Akhilesh, thank you so much for those details there. So the much-awaited talks between the foreign secretaries of India and Pakistan have been deferred at the moment. Obviously, this coming in the backdrop of Pakistan failing to confirm the arrest of Jaish-e-Mohammed, the chief Maulana Masood Azhar. We'll get you all the details in this report.
The Indo-Pak Foreign Secretary level talks have been rescheduled amidst uncertainty created by the terror attack on Pathankot Air Force Base. After the talks were deferred, Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar spoke to his Pak counterpart Aizaz Ahmed Chaudhry, with both agreeing to reschedule the talks that were to be held in Islamabad on Friday.
बात ये है कि आपसी सहमति के साथ ये रीशेड्यूलिंग हुआ है. ये नहीं है कि हमने यूनिलैटरली कोई एक ऐसा कदम लिया है और पाकिस्तान उससे नाखुश है. ये दोनों विदेश सचिवों ने आपस में बातचीत की और आपसी सहमति के साथ ये फैसला लिया गया कि बहुत निकट भविष्य में इनको पुनर्निर्धारित करेंगे.
There is also confusion over the arrest of Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Maulana Masood Azhar. Pak media had reported on Wednesday that terrorists had been arrested as Pakistan acted on leads provided by India into the Pathankot airbase attack. India, however, welcomed the detention of some Jaish leaders as first step before the talks.
We have welcomed the arrest of the Jaish-e-Mohammed members as an initial first positive step. We have already, as you know, given actionable intelligence to Pakistan regarding all the people associated with this terrorist attack. We hope that Pakistan will continue with the investigations and bring all perpetrators to justice.
Reports suggest the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval will talk to his Pakistani counterpart Nasir Khan Janrua before the foreign secretaries meet. Doval is expected to brief Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the same. Ever since the Pathankot airbase attack, the Indo-Pak FS level talks hung in the balance. Now it is for Pakistan to speed up the investigation in the Pathankot airbase attack. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, India on a Thursday welcomed the efforts made by Pakistan in the probe into the Pathankot attack. MEA spokesperson Vikas Swarup clarified that NSAs of both the countries are in regular touch. India also expressed that they were waiting for Pakistan's probe team to come to India for further investigation and is ready to extend full support to their SIT. Pakistan is expected to send investigators as part of the probe to collect important evidence about the Pathankot attack, in which 7 military personnel were martyred and 22 others were injured. Earlier, Pakistan had rejected some of the evidence given by India, including phone numbers that the terrorists called their handlers on from Pathankot. Islamabad has reportedly conveyed that those phone numbers are not registered in Pakistan.
We also note that the government of Pakistan is considering to send a special investigation team to investigate the Pathankot terrorist attack. We look forward to the visit of the Pakistani SIT, and our investigative agencies will extend all necessary cooperation to bring the perpetrators of this attack to justice.
And on to some other news now. Well, the wholesale price index-based inflation fell for the 14th straight month in December, dropping 0.73% compared to 1.99% in November on the back of tumbling oil prices. The wholesale fuel prices dropped 9.15% from a year ago in December, while the prices of manufactured goods declined 1.36% year-on-year. The price pressure points remained particularly in food articles as food prices gained 8.17% year-on-year. Following these figures, the Reserve Bank may come under pressure to reduce key lending rates further as the industrial production contracted by 3.2% in November, its sharpest decline in 4 years. Governor Raghuram Rajan said that banks will carefully look into the latest data on industrial production and give a reasoned response. Meanwhile, India's trade deficit with China has risen to a whopping $45 billion in 2015. Now, this comes on the backdrop of India's rapidly increasing imports from China, leading to an unsustainable trade imbalance. Here are all the details.
India has been pushing for more access to the Chinese markets for its goods, and the latest trade deficit figures prove how unsuccessful that attempt has been. The trade imbalance has only worsened over the last few years. Trade between both countries reached $71.63 billion in 2015, failing to meet an ambitious $100 billion target set by both countries. But India's already large trade deficit with China ballooned to a record $45 billion in 2015. Indian imports from China accounted for as much as $58.25 billion, but its exports to China stood at a meager $13.38 billion. Experts have expressed concern over the widening trade deficit, warning that this won't be sustainable in the long term.
This is not a picture which can sustain. After all, your imports are very high, your exports are low. $45 billion US is a very big amount. So certainly, it's something matter of concern, and we have no option but to correct this imbalance. A, by reducing your imports, and B, by increasing your exports.
The trade deficit has jumped as Beijing has been shipping high-value engineering and electronic goods to the Indian market, while New Delhi in return has been exporting low-value goods such as iron ore. India's main items of export to China include petroleum products, gems and jewelry and other raw materials. Industry bodies have been pushing for outward shipment of manufactured products to narrow the trade gap.
Chinese have started focusing on increasing the domestic demand, as well as they are becoming much more competitive in the export market. So definitely their exports have also come down, but our exports are falling much faster than the Chinese exports.
India and China agreed to form a special task force during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Beijing last year. India has also been pressing China to step up investments in Make in India and other infrastructure projects. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Now a look at what else made news across the country in Nationwide. The Supreme Court today ruled that the odd-even traffic scheme in Delhi will not be cancelled. Chief Justice T.S. Thakur said that people must cooperate in efforts being taken by the government to curb pollution. Calling petitions against the scheme a publicity stunt, the CJI warned that heavy fines will be imposed against frivolous petitions challenging the scheme. The Supreme Court has referred the Arunachal political crisis to a larger constitution bench. The apex court said the issues concerning powers of governor and speaker pertain to constitutional provisions and hence must be decided by a larger bench. The court on Wednesday had asked the Arunachal Assembly to not convene until Friday. Tributes were paid to the 1971 Bangladesh war hero Lieutenant General J.F.R. Jacob today in a wreath-laying ceremony in New Delhi. The ceremony was attended by a host of dignitaries and top politicians, including BJP veteran L.K. Advani and the Bangladesh High Commissioner Saeed Muazzem Ali. Israeli Ambassador Daniel Karman also graced the occasion. Jacob breathed his last on Wednesday after a prolonged spell of illness. More than 1 lakh MCD staff in Delhi, including teachers, doctors and engineers today, held a protest outside the Civic Centre. This after non-payment of their salaries for the last 4 months. Their biggest demand is to merge all 3 parts of the civic body. Hence, the division into North, South and East has led to severe deterioration in administration. This is what they say. The World Bank has spoken up about companies, including Facebook, who provide restricted access to the internet. It has said net neutrality should ensure greatest possible internet access to users and not undermine their fundamental rights and freedoms. Its World Development Report released on Wednesday touches upon the need to build out and also continuously improve networks and network capacity. And in News at 6, we'll take a very short break. We'll be back with international news and sports news. Stay with us.
Increasingly uncertain weather patterns. Among others, the Indian farmer's biggest bane. How will the new crop insurance scheme help? Watch The Big Picture at 6:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
On to the big international story now, and a series of bomb blasts rocked the Indonesian capital of Jakarta today, along with gun battles between terrorists and security personnel on the streets. Now, 5 gunmen were among the 7 people killed. President Joko Widodo said that the situation was now under control and he has called on people to remain calm. No one has claimed responsibility for the attack, but Islamic State is suspected to be behind it.
Terror struck Indonesia on Thursday. Up to 7 blasts and multiple gunfights hit the capital, Jakarta, leaving at least 7 people, including 5 gunmen, dead. The blast took place around one of the capital's busiest places, Thamrin Street, which is a major shopping and business district close to embassies and the United Nations offices. One of the blasts hit a Starbucks cafe outside the Serena shopping center and next to a police security post. As soon as the blasts went off, police cordoned off the area around the shopping center. The attackers used grenades and engaged in a gunfight with officers. Sporadic gunfire was reported for several hours after the blast. 5 gunmen were killed and reports say that 3 attackers have also been arrested. A manhunt is underway for more suspects.
5 teroris mati. Masih ada sisa, Pak? Kita belum tahu ada sisa, tapi sekarang kita lakukan pengejaran di mana-mana, tapi kita belum bisa berspekulasi.
It is not clear exactly how many gunmen were involved. There have so far been no claims of responsibility, but analysts are linking the timed attack to the Paris massacre, where Islamic State struck several locations at the same time. President Joko Widodo called it an act of terror.
Tindakan yang mengganggu keamanan masyarakat, mengganggu ketenangan rakyat, dan menebar teror pada masyarakat, dan Saya telah perintahkan kepada Kapolri, kepada Menko Polhukam.
Indonesia has been attacked by Islamist militant groups in the past and was on high alert over the new year after threats from the Islamic State. IS had warned of a concert or an attack in Indonesia, which would be international news.
Bisa memastikan, tetapi kalau dari warning yang disampaikan bahwa Indonesia akan terjadi konser dan akan menjadi berita internasional.
Warning dari mana, Pak?
Dari grup ISIS.
It is estimated that 500 to 700 Indonesians have joined the Islamic State militant group in Iraq and Syria. With the government expressing concern, their return home could spark attacks. Thursday's attack was the first major attack in Indonesia's capital since the 2009 bombings in 2 hotels that killed 7 people and injured more than 50. Bureau Report, Rajya, Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, news coming in from Turkey, where Kurdish militants launched an attack on a police station in the southeast of that country overnight. Security officials confirmed today that the truck bomb killed 6 people and wounded 39. The blast ripped the facade of the building in the small town of Sinar and caused extensive damage to the surrounding areas, smashing windows and littering the streets with debris. A security source said that 1.5 tons of explosives were used in the blast.
1 kilometre uzaktaki binaların bile camları kırıldı. Çok büyük bir patlama yani. Bak karşıda patlıyor, buradaki duvarları bozuyor.
And on to cricket news now. Well, stung by the defeat in the series opener, despite putting up a big score, Indians will have to plug their bowling loopholes when they take on Australia in the second cricket one-day in Brisbane on Friday. Now, the visitors are fully aware that any slip-up will make bouncing back very difficult.
And there it is, punched down to deep mid-on for one. James Faulkner.
At Perth, Australia chased an imposing 310 with ease, registering a comfortable 5-wicket win. But when the hosts take on India in their second outing on Friday at the Gabba, Dhoni will be hoping that his bowlers put up a better show.
If you see the bowling department, the fast bowlers did a very good job. It was the spinners that that could have bowled better. If they would have just avoided the easy boundary deliveries. Okay, fair enough. If the batsman is hitting you for a 6-over long on or long off, that's always a good shot and with a bit of risk involved. But you have to make sure with the field restriction, you don't get hit in areas where you don't have a fielder. So that's something that we'll have to avoid.
Rohit Sharma's brilliant 100 was certainly one of the positives for India despite the 5-wicket defeat. But a worrying factor for the visitors is their inability to pick up wickets in the middle overs.
A lot of positives in our batting, but we still need to work in our bowling and get those breakthroughs whenever there is big partnership going on.
Australia, however, will be without the services of both David Warner and Mitchell Marsh, both of whom are unavailable for the second match due to personal reasons. Meanwhile, Australian all-rounder James Faulkner is excited to play on a flat pitch once again.
Yeah, good game of cricket. I'm expecting the same sort of scenario here as well. I haven't seen a one-day wicket that hasn't been flat here for a fair while, so we should have good pace, good carry, and it should be a good contest again.
In the Perth ODI, India missed several opportunities that ultimately cost them the match. The visitors said they have identified their mistakes and hope not to repeat them. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, that's all in this edition of News at 6. Thanks so much for your time.